I was really surprised that the sway bar links were black and white, but that's pretty cool because it's a black and white truck. So I got the new ball joint pressed in, new sway bar links, and I took out the lift kit. This right here is a Chevrolet Trailblazer, and the mechanic said it needs a ball joint, so I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna change them both. Okay, so I got the pinch bolt out. It just pinches together on the joint. The joint is down here and it goes up through the arm. So I spread it a little bit and you can see it's starting to come apart there now. So I'll probably get a zip tie and I'll tie this to the spring. That way it can't fall. Yeah, this lift kit is, I think it's a little bit too much. So I'm thinking about either removing it or changing to a smaller kit. Anyway, yeah, so I don't want this axle to rip apart. It's already drooped down as far as it can go. I'm going to put a big zip tie here and then I'm going to knock that arm off. Put a zip tie around the spring and the knuckle. The geometry is a little bit wacky with this lift kit. This top joint, when it's jacked all the way up, I've got it jacked all the way up mostly, so when it's jacked all the way up, this top joint goes almost maxed out, same as the axle. Oh, wow, that was a good one. So I finally got those apart. That was a bit of a chore. So this is the ball joint and it's just pressed into this knuckle that goes down to the spindle. So yeah, he says this one's going bad. And there's going to be a snap ring, I think, on the top. So there'll be a snap ring up here. I have to take it off and then press it out. Okay, found the snap ring, or I found the end of it. I had to clean it up a little bit and sprayed it with some spray. Found the end of it and I took my screwdriver and I tapped on the end of it like that with a hammer. And I think the new ball joints come with new snap rings, I think, but there's a snap ring here and it's got to come off. Oh, there she goes. But now that the snap ring is gone, you can press it out and it presses down, down and out. 3-in-1 ball joint, U-joint, C-frame press kit. So this is basically a giant C-clamp, but it comes with different size spacers and different size stuffs and things. Yeah. Personal safety. So, something like that. Okay, there's like no room at all to get this clamp in the inside the fender well. So I had to cut the zip tie. I've got the axle pulled out. Another way to do it would be to take the axle nut off and pop the axle out, like leave the axle over there, and then this can pivot out without pulling the axle out. I tried to pop the axle out of the front diff, but I couldn't pop it out. It seems like I've got just enough room here, so I'm just trying to be careful. I had to put a socket in here, and that's not great, but it might work. A deep socket would be better, so I could push on the base here, but deep socket won't fit because there's no room for it here. I'm gonna try that. Oh, there she goes. That was a good noise. Yay, it worked. She just fell right out. Oh my goodness. That's a dirty hole. So yeah, that's what she looks like. I think the new one has like teeth, or it has like a knurl on it. Probably has a grease fitting on it also. And it'll go in from the bottom. Prime Choice CK518. These are the same brand name joints that I put on the Firebird project when I did the tie rod ends. So these are Prime Choice. They're pretty cheap on eBay. And yeah, I was right. The new one has a knurl on it and a bigger shoulder, so it'll definitely have to be pressed in, I'm pretty sure. So it goes in from the bottom, same as the other one came out. And they come with a new pinch bolt here. You can see the old rusty one. And they come with a new snap ring to hold the ball joint in. There's the old one. Yeah, I got the new joint in here. I'm sort of just putting the clamp with no attachments up against the ball joint, and I started cranking on it, and she's going in. I've got the cup up here now, so there's room for it to come up, and she's almost home. Using some leverage to get extra leverage. She's almost there, and then I can put the snap ring on it. We did it, friggin' right. Got her pressed in there, not too bad. I might delete this lift kit and it'd be more reliable, and the alignment and everything would be better without it. I might delete that. I've got new sway bar links to put in. So I decided to reuse the old one. It snapped on really easy, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I just probably won't use this. And there it is, new ball joint. Before I put it back together, I decided that this cheap eBay lift spacer, I decided that I'm going to take it off. I like the idea, but it's too much. When it's under full droop or when it's jacked up, the axle, the CVs are at like max. They're pretty much maxed out when you got that much extra droop. I want it to be reliable, and I want the alignment and geometry to be good. So I took out the spacer, and I'm going to take the upper control arm off and flip them back to original. I'm going to drop the strut. Same as I did on the other side. Basically get rid of the lift kit, delete the lift kit. You gotta watch the anti-sway bar, but I've got new links to put on, I just haven't put them on yet. Okay. Look at that. Black and white sway bar links for the Stormtrooper. I was really surprised that the sway bar links were black and white, but that's pretty cool because it's a black and white truck. So I got the new ball joint pressed in, new sway bar links, and I took out the lift kit. That's the old ball joint there. So I set the truck down on jack stands under the lower control arms so I could preload the suspension, and then I was able to tighten up the upper control arms. You're supposed to preload the bushings before you tighten the bushings. You're supposed to preload the suspension, so I did that, and I got one more sway bar link to put in, so it's gonna be pretty easy. I've got a washer under there, the bolt, put it up through, put the bushing, another washer. And they have these really cool sleeves. I might have to loosen this side up, or loosen the other side up to get this side in. Oh, that's upside down. There we go. And this nut has a shoulder that's threaded all the way down, so you can actually insert it down into the bushing. Like that. Well, I took off the lift kit off the front, only the front, when I had it apart. And I got it sitting on the ground now. No jack stands, no jack, wheels on. It's not too bad. It's not level by any means. The ass end is a little bit perky, but it still has the spacer in the rear. I took the spacer out of the front. So that's what she looks like on the ground. That's with the 1.5 inch wheel spacer and 265/70/17. I anticipate there might be a little bit of rubbing in the back, or I might take that mud flap off or trim a little bit of plastic. But that's what it looks like with no lift. But that'll give me a lot better geometry up front, back to factory, back to original.